My dive into underappreciated teen sex comedies continues, and this time we're going back to the 70s to take a look at another Cheerleader movie. This one boasts a few familiar faces, and if you watch the R-rated version, it also boasts a few familiar tits. Welcome to Exploitation Reviews, and me, Ruben. Today I'm taking a look at the Pom Pom Girls from 1976. After the success of the Cheerleaders in 1973, exploitation filmmakers were quick to hop on this cheerleader bandwagon, and they released loads more cheerleader movies. There was Revenge of the Cheerleaders, The Swinging Cheerleaders, Cheerleader Beach Party, Satan's Cheerleaders. There's probably some more of these things that I can't remember right now. And there was this one, the Pom Pom Girls. Let's see how it stacks up. We open on some cheerleaders practicing their moves on a beach. Nice. And then there's some footballers practicing on a field. Yeah, I guess that's nice too, if that's your thing. Huh, that coach looks familiar. After practice, the football guys see a burnt effigy. That might be important later. Johnny tries to pick up some girls. 2 of them say no, and 2 of them aren't given a choice. Oh, Johnny, by the way, he's one of those familiar faces I mentioned. That's Robert Carradine. You might remember him from Revenge of the Nerds. Here, he isn't a nerd. He's one of the cool kids, a kind of rebellious sort. He likes to get in trouble. And he's got a beef with this guy named Lester, who apparently is a turkey.
What are you hanging around with this turkey for? Let's say, you're a turkey.
Our other main character, Jesse, has a new van, and he easily convinces the waitress Sue Ann to check out the back. Her absence from her waitressing duties angers the customers and they flash their headlights, but she doesn't really notice because she's busy flashing headlights of her own. In school the next day, Johnny asks out one of the cheerleaders and she gives him a strong maybe, and then later in class he pisses out the window. Like I said, a bit of a rebellious sort. And we're about 20 minutes in. I'm sure we'll find a plot eventually. Johnny, Jesse, and a few of the girls, they vandalize some cars and they almost get caught. The movie doesn't make it really explicit, but this is in retaliation for that burnt effigy thing from before. And the guys from that school, they retaliate and they take the wheels off some of the cars at the school, including Johnny's. Kind of an interesting thing about this film, which you may or may not like, but there's very little script-level plot development here. It's more like we're just dropped into the first few weeks of school, and we just kind of have to figure things out as they go. Why is there a prank war? We don't know. School rivalry? I guess. I don't know. Why does Johnny have beef with Lester? Don't know. There's a lot. We just don't know. We just kind of have to watch. But anyway, that prank war will continue. Johnny and a few of the girls, they steal the fire truck and drive it over to the rival school and they hose down the team. And now that we're about 35 minutes into the movie, you might think that this prank war is the plot, but it's not. Not really. The real story here is the dating life of these teens. Johnny starts a relationship with Sally. He's got problems with her ex-boyfriend Lester. Dating Sally doesn't help in this regard. Jesse is starting a relationship with Lori, but she's a good girl and things are moving a bit too slowly for his taste, but still, he's fallen for her. So there's some tension and some drama there. And all of these things, the new relationships, the upcoming football game, the prank war, the beef with the Lester, they will play out and these various threads will get tied up at the end. But whatever narrative structure we can tease out of this movie, it kind of takes a backseat to the vibe of the film. That's the important thing here, the vibe. But anyway, that's enough out of me as far as plot goes. Let's talk some highlights. Well, that vibe I was talking about is the main highlight here. This film, more than most Teensploitation films I've seen, feels like real teen life. I mean, this takes place in the 70s, that's a little bit different from the 90s where I had my teen life, but still, this all seems pretty familiar. Getting in trouble with teachers, driving too fast, dealing with bullies, dating a cheerleader, nearly getting caught in that cheerleader's bedroom by her parents, all of this is really familiar. Well, it's familiar if you had a good time as a teenager. And it's fun to be reminded of these things and how life was different back then. If you want to be reminded, this is a good movie to do that. But I wouldn't say the movie is perfect. Like a high schooler testing out a new van, it has some shortcomings. Well, one minor shortcoming, just as a personal one, is the lack of Rainbeaux Smith in this movie. She was something of an exploitation darling in the 70s. She was in both The Swinging Cheerleaders and Revenge of the Cheerleaders, for example. And she really was quite lovely. It's too bad her role here is so small. But that's just me being a fanboy. It's not a big complaint. The main shortcoming here for most people, I think, will be the lack of a narrative structure. This film is more slice of life than story-driven. And not everyone likes that. Most people respond better to movies with structure, plot. And most movies, including most Teensploitation movies, have a better defined plot than this one. I mean, even something with a simple and really stupid plot like in American Pie, where they just kind of make a plan to have sex before the end of the year, that is at least a plot that keeps things moving forward. And we don't really have that here in the Pom Pom Girls. We do have various story threads that are interesting enough, and they do all get resolved in one way or another by the end of the movie. It has that, but there's not much forward momentum here. There's no big goal that the people are really working towards. Not really. It's not completely structureless, but it's close. It's more of a vibe than anything, but it is a pretty cool vibe.